as you age, every decade, even every year, we lose a number of stem cells, and we also lose quality and function. So we got you right at the end of this ideal window. You'll never have to have your stem cells restored. For instance, like somebody who's 60 or 70 or 80, we still can collect your cells. We can still give them back and boost their number, but we haven't enhanced their function. We're going to talk about how we actually do that in a minute. But as a professional athlete, you've watched guys who are still active, guys who retired, who are high functioning, high performance athletes, right?
Absolutely.
And so I try to want to give you an analogy. I kind of look at the human body, particularly athletes, as a high-tuned Ferrari.
Absolutely.
So imagine, and this is hard to explain to people who don't understand the science, but I'm going to bring this down to an analogy we all love. Super fast, beautiful cars, okay? So imagine you walk into the Ferrari dealership and you see that red Ferrari you love and you say, I want it.
Right.
But here's the catch. It doesn't have a gas cap. It comes with one tank of gas, right? So if you go out there like the professional athletes do and drive that machine at full speed, pedal to the floor, you don't change the oil, but you only have one tank of gas, that car isn't going to perform and go that far very long because you have one tank of gas. Now, you know, we as human beings are born with a fixed number of stem cells. So think of that as a tank of gas. Now, let's move to the next analogy. Let's say you bought that Ferrari and you're taking it out on the road and you're a smart guy. You decided to put a little gas cap on that so you could stop along the way and fill your tank up. But you're still going to drive it pretty fast and you're not going to change that oil, but you're going to go further and that machine's going to work. That analogy is what we're doing for you today. We're literally able to fill your stem cell pool up, or that tank, so that you'll have more regenerative potential, a better immune potential function, and your blood vessels will be more healthy. So now let's take it one step further. Imagine that you not only put that gas cap in so you can fill your tank up, but you're going to stop about every week and fill that tank up so that the gas doesn't get dirty in the bottom. You're going to change your oil and filter, which is what I'll tell you that analogy in a minute. And you're going to throw some STP in that tank. So let me give you the analogy. A super high-tuned athlete needs all of those things. He needs not only to have his gas tank full, that's your stem cell pool, he needs to be able to change that oil and filter, which is what happens when we age. We collect these senescent cells, which cause the engine, the biological machine, not to work as well. And as important, that Ferrari or high-tuned athlete needs to have a daily input of something that will allow those cells in his body to function more optimally. Because we can't get the nutrition and we can't get the key components we now know that help alter the genes in a more youthful fashion from the diet we eat. So you now have a Ferrari that you can drive for years. It's going to go for miles and miles. You don't have to step on the gas pedal, particularly if you've just retired. And you're able to enjoy a quality of life and actually repair much of the damage that career caused you to experience. So this is something that I think that if young people who are just starting their career knew about this, inevitably would say, you know what, I'll take a shot at that because I know one thing. I'm immortal right now in my mind, but I know the chances of me getting injured are very high.
Absolutely.
And if this is something to help them get back on the field quicker, repair them, and get back on the team and play, well, that's a plus for everybody, right? So
absolutely.
If you were a young guy, what would you say to me if I offered this?
So this is, it's funny you say that because this is a no-brainer, right? From the way I always approached my body is I always thought of recovery as a 2-to-1 to the duration of exercise.
That's a pretty good, accurate way of doing this.
It was, so I was always trying to balance this. Now, that's not even coming close to this level. And that afforded me, that is the difference between a pro and a guy who's going to be there for a little while. A pro is going to invest in his body. I think you recently saw Russell Wilson just said he spent $1 million on his body this past year. LeBron James has come out and said he spent $1.2 million because it is an investment. It's an investment to be able to do what you love and to make a really good living playing a game, right? It's a no-brainer.
Right.
So, I told you that I retired and I walked away from the game because my body just was breaking down and I could feel it breaking down more and more.
Sure.
But if there was a way that I could have stayed 27, because that's when I felt as though I was the strongest, the fastest. I was smarter. I was a smarter, linebacker, a smarter football player. Right. That was when I was at my peak.
Correct.
And if there was a way to physically stay there, but now my mind matures and I get more reps and I see more things, dude, you could only imagine how much better of a player I could be and how much longer I could play, effectively. So from, kind of what we talked about before was, this is your true reset, right? Yeah. This is your way to come back. And yes, if you have an injury during the season, this will help you heal faster. Yeah. But even if you don't, you just took a lot of cumulative damage over the season, which every one of NFL player does.
Even if you're not you don't have an injury.
Even if you don't have surgery.
This is micro injuries, micro damage.
Right. Now you get reset for the following season.
Right.
And, that has always been what you always try to accomplish in the off season. Yeah. But you never had a mechanism like this to be able to do it. And so that's what's so exciting about this. And more importantly, also just, long-term health for, unfortunately this wasn't available when I played, but there's no reason I'm not going to invest in this, for the future, because I plan on, like I said, I'm going to be deadlifting to 85 and we're still rocking it at 100.